What if one of the most famous men on the planet, a man whose name echoes in every stadium from Madrid to Lagos, decided to write a personal letter? Not to a fellow footballer, not to a fan, not even to a politician from Europe or America, but to a young African president, barely known in the international spotlight? That's exactly what Cristiano Ronaldo did. Cristiano Ronaldo. The man needs no introduction. From the narrow streets of Madeira to the shining lights of Old Trafford, Santiago Bernabeu, and now Al Nassr, he's more than a footballer. He's a symbol of ambition, a proof that it's possible to rise from nothing and become everything. But behind the goals, the trophies, and the headlines, Ronaldo has another side. A man who never forgot what it felt like to be underestimated, to have only one pair of boots, to be told you'll never make it. And maybe that's why this story begins not with a press conference, but with a quiet moment. A letter, written in private, sent in hope, to President Traore. I may not know the politics of your land, but I know struggle. I know leadership when I see it. And most importantly, I know what it means to have the eyes of a generation looking up at you, hoping you don't fail. Why Ibrahim Traore? It surprised everyone. Here was a 35-year-old military captain, unknown to most outside Africa, who suddenly became the president of Burkina Faso after a stunning coup. To the outside world, he was either a hero or a rebel. To his people, he was a symbol of courage, a young man stepping into fire, determined to protect his country from foreign influence and rising terror. He spoke like a revolutionary. He walked among soldiers and farmers like one of them. He refused luxury, embraced humility, and called on the youth to rise. Maybe that's what caught Ronaldo's attention. Not the politics, but the power of leadership in its rawest form. So Cristiano wrote, not as a celebrity, but as a father, as a leader, as a man who's watched too many bright futures burn out in the dark. He wrote with one simple message. If Africa is to rise, it must begin with its leaders, and its leaders must begin with love for the youth. No flashy announcement, no media coverage, just a letter delivered quietly, respectfully, directly. But what came next? No one, not even Ronaldo, was ready for the response that followed. Cristiano Ronaldo had written his letter with sincerity. No cameras, no Instagram post, just ink on paper and a heart reaching across continents. He didn't expect a reply. He wasn't looking for headlines. But in the capital city of Ouagadougou, the letter didn't go unnoticed. When President Ibrahim Traore received the letter, his team thought it was a joke. Cristiano Ronaldo? The Cristiano Ronaldo, writing to him? But as he read the words, something shifted in the room. There was no arrogance, no politics, just raw respect from one leader to another. He took a deep breath. Then he began to write. Not a formal government letter, not a press statement, but a personal reply filled with pain, pride, and an unshakable hope. Brother Cristiano, your words reached me in a moment of silence. Here in the Sahel, we do not run on tracks. We run for survival. Against bullets, against poverty, against betrayal. But still we run. I was not raised for power. I wore the same boots for years, just like your first pair. I slept with my weapon beside me, not knowing if tomorrow would arrive. But I chose to stand because I saw what our people could become. Not just soldiers, not just survivors, but champions like you. The letter didn't just thank Ronaldo. It challenged him. It invited him. Come, visit us. Walk with our people. Not as a star, but as a brother who believes that greatness lives in African soil too. Within days, the letter made its way back to Portugal. Cristiano sat down to read it quietly. He didn't speak to the press. He didn't tweet. But the very next morning, something strange happened. His private foundation made an anonymous donation to an education project in Burkina Faso. Then he posted a photo. No caption. Just a Burkinabe boy playing football barefoot under the African sun. That one image sparked millions of shares. And then came the speculations. Is Ronaldo planning a visit? Is there a youth football project in the works? Could two men, so different, so far apart, actually change the future of a forgotten nation together? Weeks had passed. The world watched and waited. Would Cristiano Ronaldo respond publicly? Would he visit? Or was the letter just a moment in the wind? And then, without warning, without any press conference, a private jet touched down on the runway of Ouagadougou International Airport. The flag of Portugal and Burkina Faso waved gently in the dry morning breeze. The man who stepped out, was not wearing designer. No entourage. No sunglasses. Just Cristiano Ronaldo. In a simple white shirt, jeans, and sneakers, carrying a football under his arm. There were no reporters. No TV stations. But within an hour, the entire capital had heard the news. Ronaldo is here. And just like that, the streets filled with people. Not fans, believers. Mothers with babies. Old men in football jerseys. Boys who had never owned a football, holding sandals like trophies. They weren't cheering for a celebrity. They were welcoming a dream that had just landed on their soil. When Ronaldo met President Traore, there were no official cameras rolling. Just a single photographer and history in the making. They spoke in quiet tones. They walked side by side through the neighborhoods, no armored cars. They visited a school rebuilt after a terrorist attack. They played football with children who had never seen a stadium. Cristiano speaks. This isn't about me. It's about reminding these kids that someone somewhere sees them and believes in them. But the most powerful moment came later that afternoon, when Ronaldo sat on a plastic chair under a mango tree, surrounded by barefoot teens, and told them his story. How he was once one of them. How no one believed in him at first. How the world will try to ignore you, until you become impossible to ignore. In that moment, the world didn't see a footballer and a president. It saw two men, two warriors of different fields, fighting the same battle. To inspire the youth. To protect dignity. To prove that greatness can rise from dust and war. The visit lasted just 2 days. But the impact? Still echoing. Local papers called it the day hope wore football boots. International media tried to catch up. But the people didn't need headlines. They had witnessed a miracle. And so a letter became a meeting. A meeting became a movement. And the boy who once kicked mango seeds on the roadside, he now dreams of becoming Africa's next legend. The sun had set on Ronaldo's surprise visit to Burkina Faso. But the sunrise the next day was different. Something had changed. The air buzzed. Not with the noise of fame or fanfare, but with a quiet fire. A question began to spread across West Africa. What if this wasn't just a visit? What if it was the beginning of something real? He wasn't posting highlights. He wasn't reviewing trophies. He was on a video call with engineers, educators, investors, and Ibrahim Traore himself. Traore determined. This isn't about charity. It's about legacy. Can we build something that stays, even after the cameras are gone? Thank you for watching. Kindly like, comment, subscribe, and share for part 2.